So when I was younger, everybody around me thought I was the healthiest eater ever. And so did I. I thought I was doing everything right. You know, low fat diet, stay away from a lot of red meat. I was vegan for 7 years, a lot of veggies. The list goes on and on and on. And of course, that sounds like a really healthy diet. But was it really? These days, more recently, I've totally changed the way I eat. I monitor my health really carefully, get blood work quite a bit, and I'm going to share with you exactly what I eat almost every single day, every meal. And you might be surprised, but I will tell you this. I feel the best I've ever felt in my life, and my physicals and my medical results seem to bear that out. And remember something very important that I always share with you. Everything is connected. So if you're looking for better mental health, your physical health has to be right. You can't have inflammation. You can't have things going on in your gut. Again, it's a long list of things, but you've got to be, for mental health, you've got to be healthy all over. So what do I eat these days? Well, this was tough to adapt because all my life, I was told that red meat is bad, fat is bad, butter is bad, cheese is bad, oils, keep going on and on and on. All that stuff was supposed to be bad for us. But now, almost every meal, I've been eating, yes, red meat, eggs. I eat eggs every morning and sometimes during the day as well, but I eat at least 3 eggs a day, sometimes up to 5+ eggs per day. Cheese, butter, the more the better, grass-fed from Ireland. I cook my eggs in olive oil, and this is mainly what I eat, but I'm going to give you an entire list. I'm going to share with you almost everything I eat on a daily basis. Now, that doesn't mean I eat all of it every day, but this list is pretty inclusive. So if I'm sharing something with you, that means I eat it a lot. And if I don't say something, it means I hardly ever eat it. And I'll talk to you at the end about the foods that I absolutely stay away from these days. So I'll just share with you. I eat a lot of meat. I eat a lot of eggs, butter, cheese. Why do I do this? Because I have found out, and I am pretty darn sure that I'm right on this, that not necessarily a carnivore diet, but a diet that incorporates a lot of meat is actually the healthiest. And again, I bought into everything throughout my life. I was strict vegan for 7 years. But as the 7 years kind of went on, I was noticing a lot of little health issues, medical issues that were not good. And were they absolutely caused by the vegan diet? Well, I can't swear to it, but as soon as I got off the vegan diet and started with more meat and more animal products, they all mysteriously went away. So you be the judge. Again, I know that's not a medical scientific study, but it's anecdotal enough for me to know that I require meat in my diet. Okay, and I'd like to call my diet an anti-inflammatory diet because although some people would say, well, meat causes inflammation, I'm not so sure I agree with that. But let me share with you the other things I eat practically on a daily basis. Do I eat them 100% every day? No, but during the course of a week, I'm eating this quite a bit. Sardines, incredibly healthy, probably one of the healthiest fish out there. Try to eat them every single day. There's something I've talked about before. It's called natto in Japanese, but in English, I think it's just pronounced natto. But since my wife is Japanese, we always call it natto. But whatever you call it, it's natto in English. Fermented soybeans. Incredibly healthy, a good protein hit, and also really, really good for the gut. I would argue that natto is perhaps one of the healthiest foods on the planet. So I want you to do a search for that. You can get it usually in an Asian grocery store. But check it out. If you're in a large enough size city, you're going to be able to find some natto. But I would recommend eating that every single day. It is a game changer as far as health goes. Turkey, chicken, The fish I eat other than sardines is generally salmon and tuna. I consume a lot of bone broth. I try every day, but it turns out to be several times per week, probably bone broth, either beef or chicken. Really, really good for health, really good for joints. And I'm almost 70 years old, and I've got some osteoarthritis in my knees from being a lifelong athlete. And bone broth really, really does help that. And in fact, overall health improves for sure from bone broth. Yogurt and kimchi for gut health. The gut is super important. Like I've said before, if the gut's not healthy, you're not going to be healthy, physically and mentally. If you're constipated, if you've got bad stuff going on in your gut, bad bacteria, just stuff like that, you're going to be physically not doing so well, and mentally as well. Bananas. I don't eat a lot of bananas, but I try to eat at least one banana every single day. Salad, bunch of greens, as much as I can, but I don't overdo it with the greens. I love Asian green veggies that you just pick up at the Asian grocery store, different ones every time. Snow pea tips. I love Japanese shishito peppers. You just can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with greens. And I also like white organic sweet potatoes. They're a little bit different than the typical very orange yellowish sweet potatoes that we're all used to. These are, I like them better, but white organic sweet potatoes, really, really healthy, but I don't overdo it. Maybe a half of a sweet potato at dinner. I consume a bunch of psyllium fiber supplements every day, again, to keep me regular and to keep my gut health in top-notch shape as much as I possibly can. I also stick to a fairly strict gluten-free diet. When I'm not as strict as somebody would be that if they had celiac disease, they've got to be totally cognizant of every single little, cross-contamination possible. I'm not that strict, but I try not to eat things with gluten in them. And if I do, I'm talking a tiny, tiny, tiny bite, but very, very little gluten. And when I went gluten-free, I noticed that I had psoriasis for decades of my life. Nobody knew what to do about it. The dermatologists, they didn't even know what to do. Of course they gave me creams and all kinds of other junk, but none of it really worked until I went gluten-free. And the gluten-free diet, I'd say, got rid of, to be fair, 95% of my psoriasis. 95%. I still had a little bit sometimes around my knuckles, a little bit. If you didn't look really, really carefully, you wouldn't know. However, once I started adding much more red meat, eggs, things like that to my diet, guess what? I'll let you guess. Well, I'll tell you, the psoriasis has gone away 100%. I am 100% clear now from psoriasis. And again, I attribute that to gluten-free, as well as not carnivore, but very heavy on the red meat diet. What do I drink? I drink black coffee every morning. Now, most mornings I will put either ghee in my coffee or MCT oil, which is medium chain triglycerides. MCT oil. So it's either I'm going to put ghee, which is GHEE. It's a clarified butter, usually used in Indian cooking, or MCT oil. Again, getting good fats during the day has been super, super important to me. I also drink a lot of tea, and I drink a lot of water. Nothing sweetened. I never put sugar in anything, and I'll get to that in a few seconds. But that's pretty much all I drink is, again, coffee in the morning, tea in the evening, and water during the course of the day. What do I stay away from mostly? I've made it a point to stay away from sweets, anything with sugar, breads, simple carbs. So we used to eat a lot of rice, many times per week, oftentimes during dinner, especially if we're having something like sushi or some type of Asian food where rice goes well with it. I've really tried to cut down on my rice to the point where I eat almost no rice. I don't think grains are necessarily healthy, and it's something I've been discovering lately. So I really have cut down on my rice. Do I eat any rice at all? Yeah, maybe a little bit, but I try my best to make it almost nothing, almost no rice. Cereals, again, I stay away totally from cereals. The only exception I would make from cereals, if you want to call this a cereal, is sometimes, I'd say once every few weeks, I might make myself some grits in the morning. I get the highest quality grits, cook them on the stove, not instant grits, and I put some butter in, and it's really delicious. But I probably only do that once every 3 weeks or so. I do like them, but again, pretty high in carbs, and I don't consume them a lot. I stay away from processed foods. Again, I'm learning that anything with sugar, simple carbs, processed foods, these are killers, and they're not good for your health. And again, they make you fat. I just stay away. It takes some willpower for sure, but it's not that difficult when you start feeling better and looking better. I also have been cutting down on the typical sushi that we used to have a lot. Sometimes we'd go out for dinner and have sushi, and I used to love that, and I still like the taste of it, but it's got so much rice in it. And if I do get sushi these days, I'm going to pretty much be getting mostly sashimi, which is just the raw fish and no rice, because the rice, again, it's a grain. It converts into sugar. I just don't think it's healthy at all. So maybe a tiny bit, but I do stay away from as much rice as possible. When I do go to Asian restaurants, I do love soup, and I know their soups are generally high in sodium, and I don't like that part, but I do monitor my blood pressure. My blood pressure is fine, but I've got to tell you, I love sundubu, which is a Korean tofu soup, and I usually have that with meat. And sometimes I'll get some extra meat on the side, because again, my diet these days is pretty meat heavy. And also, I love hot and sour soup. Now, do I think that these soups are really healthy? I don't know the answer to that. But I do love them, and I don't have them that much, but I do love Asian soups such as sundubu and hot and sour and things like that. I'm kind of a simple person, and I just always love that. And to make it even a little crazier, I'm probably the only person on this planet that does this. I don't know of another person that does this one, but I've gotten into the habit of putting some crumbled up gluten-free matzah in hot and sour soup. I don't know how I even discovered that, but I love it, and not that much, but I just crumble up, so it just gives a little bit of a crunch, and I just love it. But again, I would argue that I'm probably the only person on the planet, for many reasons, that does that. You might be wondering, well, do I drink alcohol? So I'm not against alcohol, but I really don't drink it. I don't think it's healthy. It doesn't really do anything for me. I would rather be consuming, if I want something, along those lines, I would rather be consuming a little cannabis gummy just to, enjoy the evening, or of course, magic mushrooms, microdosing, or maybe even a little bit more. But alcohol, it bloats me. I don't love the taste of it. It doesn't really do that much for me other than make me tired. So I just have gotten away from alcohol. I just don't enjoy it. Occasionally, my wife and I might have a little bit of sake or soju or something like that for dinner. But if I have it, it's like a tiny bit. However, I will tell you this. My grandfather on my mother's side, so my maternal grandfather, had a drink of alcohol. I think at least one drink every day. Probably one drink every day, but maybe two. I'm not sure. I don't remember, but definitely at least one drink every day. He lived until he was 106 years old. So I don't know. Maybe I need to adapt his habits, because he also, it's funny because back in the day, he ate a lot of meat and a lot of saturated fat, and those were during the times that people would say, "Oh, you can't eat a high-fat diet, or you can't eat a lot of meat. That's going to kill you. It's going to give you heart disease." Well, tell him that he lived to 106 years old while eating that type of a diet. So again, that says a little. Again, I know it's not a scientific study, but anecdotally, there is something to that. And plus, when I started eating much more meat, I did start feeling much better in so many ways, mentally, physically. I get out there and do things better now than I've done them. My joints do feel better. My psoriasis totally gone. I mean, I think there are a ton of health benefits. And just to leave you with this, when I do get and I'm going to be having blood tests and my yearly physical next month, but every time, and I try to get that done twice a year, the blood test, complete lipid panel, everything. And whenever I have that done, my lipid panel is probably better than most people in their 20s. It's really, really good. I mean, I have been working on it, and I take a very low dose statin because When I had a CIMT scan a few years ago, they noticed that I did have some plaque in my arteries, which is normal for somebody my age. Again, I'm going to be 70 years old in May. So, of course, we all age, but I'd rather age gracefully and try to do every single thing right. I never want to have the mindset that I'm growing old, so there's certain things I can't do because I'm old now. No, I don't want to have that mindset. I get out and I run, I ski, I get on my skateboard, I roller skate, I go to the gym. I'm really feeling better now at age 69 and 1/2 than I have felt for a good part of my life. Now, there's no guarantee in life. I know there's no guarantee. And you know, I could drop dead in 5 minutes from a heart attack. And if I do, I hope you would really enjoy this video or this audio, however you're consuming this material. I hope you enjoy it. But hopefully that won't be the case. Hopefully what I'm sharing with you is not only keeping me healthy for a long time to come, but hopefully it's going to keep you healthy if you care to try any of my suggestions that I'm recommending today. Again, it's not medical advice. I'm not recommending. I'm sharing with what I do, and it's working really, really well for me. So I just feel that I need to share this with you. Have a great day. Hope you enjoyed. If you do like this stuff, remember, like, share, subscribe. It really helps us out, helps other people out as well, because when more people see this information, we change lives. So remember, my website, microdoseu.com, as well as there's show notes in every single episode I do with really important links. So dive deeper, check it all out. And I've got a lot of stuff going, and I put out a brand new episode every Wednesday and Friday, regular episode like this. However, I do try to jump on YouTube often and do live streams, and feel free to check me out there. Everything I do, the channel or the platform is Microdose U. It's Microdose with the letter U on the end of it. I love you. I'll see you next time. I'm Dr. Dave. Hey, so I hope you enjoyed that. I wanted to come on for just for one more second because there's definitely one food item that I totally forgot to put on the list, and that's peanuts. I eat a pretty decent amount of peanuts, maybe daily. Not too many, but enough because I love them, and they are definitely really healthy. So I wanted to add that. Hope you really enjoyed this episode. Again, it didn't have really any direct relationship with microdosing, but again, I want to share with you things that are going to make you healthier, because when you're healthier physically, it definitely leads to better mental health, and also vice versa. So everything's connected. Talk to you in the next episode.